Good morning to you. We are now continuing with the Constitution class. We have already seen up to Article 32 in Fundamental Rights, Part 3 of the Constitution. Now, Article 33, 34, and 35 are left. 33, 34, 35 are restrictions to fundamental rights. Up to 33, right to constitutional remedy, all the 7 fundamental rights are over. 33, 34, 35 relate to restrictions on fundamental rights. Now, Article 33, it empowers the Parliament to restrict or abrogate the fundamental rights of the members of armed forces, paramilitary forces, police forces, intelligence agency, and other central police organization. The purpose is obvious: to ensure proper discharge of their duties and maintenance of discipline among them. The power to make law is conferred only on Parliament, and any such law made by Parliament also gets judicial immunity. Remember, state legislatures have no powers. The expression members of armed forces also cover such employees of armed forces like carpenters or mechanics or cooks, chowkidars, tailors, etc. A parliamentary law enacted under this act can also exclude the court martial from the writ jurisdiction of the Supreme Court and High Court. So this is Article 33. And Article 34 is martial law. It provides for restriction on fundamental rights, while martial law is in vogue in any area within the territory of India. Remember, the article gives the powers to Parliament to indemnify, that is, insulate, any government servant or any class of government servants or any other person from any act done by him or purported to have been done by him in connection with the maintenance of order and tranquility where the martial law has been invoked. The act of indemnity made by Parliament is beyond judicial review. The martial law, remember, has not been defined in the Constitution. The literal meaning of martial law is maybe the military rule. But Constitution does not provide such a contingency. Some constitutional experts say it amounts to national emergency. But some people differ. Now, even during national emergency, the Parliament exists, Council of Ministers there, state legislatures function, and the judiciary function. All organs of the state function. Whereas, there is no provision also in the Constitution to suspend the entire Constitution. No doubt you can suspend the Constitution of state with reference to a particular state, that too by imposing Article 356. But there is no provision in the Constitution to suspend the entire Constitution. So, obviously, personally, I do not agree it amounts to national emergency, because national emergency, there is a specific provision under Article 352, and 3 grounds have also been given: armed rebellion, war, or external aggression. These 3 have been given. But when we deal with Article 34, we should know the Armed Forces Special Powers Assam and Manipur Act of 1958, which has become very popular and very controversial. As you know, this is a colonial legacy. Originally, it was enacted in 1942 in the context of Quit India movement in 1942 by Viceroy Lightgo. After independence, Parliament made 3 acts under Armed Forces Special Powers Act for 3 different regions. One is AFSP Assam Manipur Act 1958 to deal with Naga insurgency in Assam, which was subsequently extended to almost all northeastern states. Secondly, Armed Forces Special Powers Punjab and Chandigarh Act 1983. And the third is Armed Forces Special Powers J&K Act 1990. Remember, in April 2019, AFSPA partially removed from some districts of Arunachal Pradesh, but it remained in the areas bordering Myanmar. In December 2019, Manipur, excluding Imphal municipal area, was declared as disturbed area. You may recall that there was serious agitation in Manipur with reference to certain sections available in Armed Forces Special Powers Act number 1. Section 3 of the Act does not define the term disturbed area. It only says any area which is facing danger or disturbance. The powers have been given to the governor and the administrator in respect of Chandigarh, where the union territory is there. And Nagaland was declared disturbed area for 6 months, as you know, from 30th June 2019, only for 6 months. Primarily, it was intended to use the army to assist the civil administration. Then, why this AFSPA became controversial in Manipur? For reasons simply, see, under the existing provisions, the authorized officer can fire at any individual even if it results in his death if he violates the law which prohibit assembly of 5 or more persons and carrying weapons. Besides, he can be arrested also, and he can be arrested without warrant, and search operations can be conducted without warrant. Similarly, he can be detained without any time limit. Because of these reasons, the act has become very controversial, attracting large-scale agitation in Manipur. Now, this is Article 34, though martial law is not technically important. This portion is important because the recent occurrence, because we have to study for the past 18 months the current affairs. So, this is important from the point of current affairs. You should know what is AFSPA, what is the controversy, why this has become problematic for the government. That point you should understand. Now we are coming to Article 35. I told you 33, 34, 35 are exceptions or restrictions to fundamental rights. Now, Article 35 lays down the powers to make law to give effect to certain fundamental rights. But these powers have been given only to Parliament, remember, and not to state legislatures. Under this, Parliament has the power to make law with reference to the certain matters. Remember, it is very easy. You may revise this Article 16. So, under Article 16, you make a restriction. A domicile restriction can be made by Parliament. So, in that, Parliament has been given the power. Number 1. That is Article 16. Secondly, you remember, I have told you when we discuss Article 32, in addition to the Supreme Court, Parliament has the powers to entrust the powers of the Supreme Court to any other court, Article 32. So, Article 30. So, 16, Article 32. Second, third. Third is Article 34. Just now we have read. Article 33 and 34. 16, 32, 33 and 34. Parliament has the powers to make law restricting availment of fundamental rights in all the 4 cases. In other words, to prescribe residential condition for certain employment under the state or union territory or local authority as explained by me in Article 16. Secondly, to empower the court other than the Supreme Court and High Court to exercise the writ jurisdiction for enforcement of fundamental rights as given in Article 32. Similarly, in Article 33, that is restriction of the application of fundamental rights with reference to the members of armed forces, police forces as authorized in Article 33. Fourthly, to indemnify any group of government servants or any other person for any act done during martial law operation as given in Article 34. So, 16, 32, 33 and 34, in respect of these four fundamental rights, you can enforce, you can restrict the availment of fundamental rights in all the three cases. That is 33, 34, 16, 32, 33 and 34. Now, in addition to this, remember, in the same fundamental rights, Article 17 says untouchability is abolished. So, you have to make a law to back it up. And similarly, the child labor, forced labor, for that also you have to make law. Though we have already made law, these two, the powers have been given. The point you should remember is, since they have specifically mentioned in Article 35, even if some cases it falls under the jurisdiction of Schedule 7 state list, the Parliament enjoys the powers. So, in addition to the four which I have mentioned, 16, 32, 33 and 34, Parliament has the power to make law prescribing punishment for the act which are declared as offences under fundamental rights, which include untouchability under Article 17 and traffic in human beings and forced labour in Article 23. It is important to note that this article extends the powers of the Parliament to make a law on matters specified above, though some of these matters fall within the state list. So, this is the point you should remember. Now, before ending Article 35, that is Part 3. Part 3 ends with the Article 35. Before ending Part 3, we should know the popular or notorious or infamous Article 35A, because these happened in the last 12 months. So, it is very important. You should remember. There can be a question on Article 35A. As you know, Article 35A was incorporated in Indian Constitution through a presidential order issued under Article 370 on 14th May 1954. So, remember, who issued this order? The Constitution, without amending the Constitution. Remember, it is a presidential order. This was incorporated through a presidential order issued by virtue of invoking Article 370 when 14th May 1954. Who are the President and Council of Ministers head? Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the President of India and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the Prime Minister. President of India invoked Clause 1D, 1 within bracket D of Article 370 for issue of this presidential order. Remember, very important, there is a clause under Article 370, 1 Clause D within bracket D. This allows the President of India to issue an order. So, that order, Clause 1D, allows the President of India to make certain exception and modification to the Constitution for the benefit of the subjects of the state of J&K, that is, citizens of J&K. So, this clause allows President of India to make certain exceptions and modifications to the Constitution for the benefit of state subjects of J&K. Remember, this Article 35A is not included in Part 3. Very important. It is not a part of Part 3, but only in the appendix of the Constitution. You may also understand that this is not a fundamental right. Kindly appreciate, this is not a fundamental right. And this article was not added through Article 368, which has prescribed the procedure to amend the Constitution. For adding one proviso in the Constitution itself has prescribed procedure in Article 368. So, when you add Article 35A, common sense dictates you should have added that article by following the procedure stipulated in Article 368. For I mean, unfortunately or fortunately, the procedure has not been followed. Instead, this was incorporated by through a presidential order by invoking Article 370. Remember, very important point. Then, as you know, it is only the Parliament which has the right to incorporate any provision into the Constitution by adopting the procedure given in Article 368. Neither President of India, nor Council of Ministers, nor even Judiciary has any powers to add a provision in the Constitution without following the procedure. Now, therefore, the presidential order issued on 14th May 1954 is unconstitutional as given by the government. Now, secondly, even after addition of Article 35, there was no informed discussion in Parliament or approval of the Parliament was taken. Thirdly, remember, the provisions of Article 35A were discriminatory and violative of Article 14 and 19. Now, what does this Article 35A says? Article 35A gives the powers to the J&K legislature to declare a class of persons as permanent residents of the state. It also empowers the government to give such persons who has been declared as permanent residents special rights and privileges in matters of number 1, public employment, number 2, acquisition of immovable property in the state, number 3, access to scholarships, number 4, voting rights, and such other rights which the state government may provide in the due course of time. Such legislations, most important, remember, such legislations which confer special rights and special privileges to the state subjects are protected from being annulled. Annulled means ended, from being ended on the ground that they infringe any of the fundamental rights provided in the Constitution of India. Remember? So, an immunity has been given to the act. Secondly, interestingly, remember, for being a permanent citizen of J&K, the qualification is that the person should have been a citizen of the state on 14th May 1954, number 1, or he has been residing in the state for 10 years or earlier. So, 54 means 44. India got independence only in 47, whereas the residency required is 10 years before. From 44, before 44, 10 years, or has already acquired property in the state. These three conditions has been given. It has also been held very interestingly that if a girl from J&K marries an outsider, then all her rights will be terminated and even her children will not get any kind of rights. So, this is another apparently discriminatory. Definitely, any common, any person, any sane fellow will agree to this. Thirdly, this being the position, remember, on 5th August 2019, President of India promulgated the Constitution application to J&K Order 2019. This notification has revoked the special status given to J&K under 370 and also Article 35A. Now there is no existence of Article 35A, though Article 370 remains in paper only. So, this is the position of Article 35A, number 1, very important. Then Armed Forces Special Powers Act. Secondly, these two are potential questions. So, kindly understand this, appreciate this, and if there is any doubt, kindly be free to ask me. You can put a comments portion and I will explain whatever is possible. I will explain you in the next class. So, we have completed fundamental rights, right from article right to equality, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18, right to freedom, 19, 20, 21 and 22, what is it? Right against exploitation, 23 and 24, right to freedom of religion, 25, 26, 27, 28, cultural and educational rights, 29 and 30, right to property, Article 31, which has been deleted through 44th Amendment Act 1978, Article 32, right to constitutional remedy, which gives you 5 writs, that is habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, certiorari, and quo warranto. Then we have seen Article 33, 34, 35, and 35A. With this, the fundamental rights are over. We will be taking up narrative principles tomorrow. Thank you.